Tinysaurus.
Dinosaur.
Did you have a good day, Char Char? Did you have a good day today? It was pretty fun, huh? Did it rain? Or was it sunny?
Sunny.
All right, we had a
No,
good
not
day.
time.
Tinysaurus by Cheryl Webster and Jan Fernley. Tinysaurus was tiny. He had tiny teeth, tiny claws, and the tiny roar. But Tinysaurus wanted to be big like Daddysaurus.
Like, you are big.
Daddysaurus had huge teeth, gigantic claws, an enormous roar.
We are gonna be a dinosaur.
Tinysaurus would even settle for just being as big as his older sister, Big Sisosaurus. It wasn't as if he had tried to get bigger. He had. He had tried jumping up and down, but that didn't work. He had tried stretching himself on a tree branch, but he couldn't hold himself long enough. Nope. He tried tying tree trunks to his legs, but the only thing that it was made him bigger, but the only thing that was made bigger were the bumps on his head. It just wasn't fair.
I have the bump.
You do?
Bump.
I have an itchy nose. Being tiny meant that Mommysaurus would not let him go to the plippy ploppy water hole all on his own. Big Sisosaurus could. Nor could he go to the sludgy squishy swamp, squelchy swamp. Big Sisosaurus could. He wasn't even allowed to graze on his own in the swishy swashy grassland. Big Sisosaurus could. And he was absolutely forbidden to go near the Ooh Ouch Mountain. But even Big Sisosaurus wasn't allowed to go there.
Want to see?
But the one thing Tinysaurus was most sad about was being too tiny to look after the eggs for Momosaurus on his own. Tinysaurus loved the eggs. He sat and watched the nest. He nuzzled them. He turned them. He talked to them. He could not wait for them to hatch.
Want to see?
See, it's snuggling the little brothers and sisters that are in the eggs. One day while Mommysaurus and Daddysaurus were out hunting, a shadow fell over Tinysaurus and the ground. He looked up to see a huge, nasty saurus eyeing the eggs. Supper, he snarled.
Like this.
I need to eat those eggs. The nasty saurus swiped at Bigosaurus with his tail, knocking her, Big Sisosaurus with her tail, and knocking her flying. Got to see the eggs, Tinysaurus thought. The nasty saurus tried to swipe at him, but Tinysaurus was so tiny that he kept missing.
Want to see?
Tinysaurus balanced the nest carefully and ran. Run, Tinysaurus, run! Big Sisosaurus shouted. Run, Forrest, run! Tinysaurus ran towards the blippy ploppy waterhole. Blip, blop, blip, blop, blip, blop. The water was so deep that it almost washed over him, but he ran on. Tinysaurus, you can do it. Go, go, go. Save those eggs. We love our eggs. Be so awesome. He came to the sludgy, squishy swamp. Sludge, squash, sludge, squash. His tiny feet almost got stuck. A quick dart out and into the swishy, swashy grassland. Swish, swash, swish, swash. Tinysaurus belted along, but oh no! He's been spotted. The nasty Saurus was so close. Tinysaurus looked ahead and saw.
It had sharp mouth.
I'm going to eat your eggs. Ooh, ouch, mountain. Ooh. He took a deep breath and ran. Ooch, ouch, ooch, ouch, ooch, ouch, ooch, ouch. That's on my toes. His toes were singed, but still, he kept going. He just hopped. He just hoped the eggs didn't boil. Ew. At the top, Tinysaurus spotted a small hole in the side of the mountain. Hey. Future you's not going to be able to see the book. All right. The nasty Saurus came closer and closer and closer. And he poked his snout, and the huge jaw snapped at Tinysaurus. And then the nasty Saurus couldn't move in. And it couldn't move out. Tinysaurus quickly sneaked out underneath, and Nasty Saurus was furious. Mommy Saurus and Daddy Saurus came huffing and puffing. Are you okay? They panted. Tinysaurus nodded. Are you angry with me for coming over here? Coming up here, he asked. They both nuzzled him closely. Nuzzled. How could we be angry? You saved the eggs. You're our hero. The next morning, Tinysaurus had a lovely surprise. There was a nest where there were 3 baby sauruses. They had tiny teeth, tiny little claws, teeny little oars. Tinysaurus grinned an enormous grin. He knew what this means, he said. I'm not Tinysaurus anymore. I'm Big Brosaurus!
And to hold it.
And he was the best big Brosaurus ever.
I want to see. I want to read one.
Good night.